Welcome to Shakin, where we provide the platform for entrepreneurs and thought leaders to share their stories in order to hopefully influence others to get out of the rat race and chase their own dreams. If you have any recommendations for guests or questions that you want to be asked, please don't hesitate to reach out. Anyways, if you enjoy the podcast, please like, comment, subscribe, and share in order to keep the podcast growing. Otherwise, I'm your host, Jack Moran, and this is Shakin' Hands. If you're looking for business mentorship, I have a place where you can get feedback on your unique personal development and business growth challenges. Over the last year, I've brought together a group of impact-driven thought leaders where we meet every single day to discuss psychology, communication, mindset, and business case studies. We have people who have made millions of dollars, lost millions of dollars, Harvard MBAs, and new entrepreneurs like you and I. Entrepreneurship can be lonely, so if you're looking for a support system, please follow the link in the description below for some more information.
We're recording already, right?
Yeah, we're running.
Can I say, can I swear or not?
Yeah, you can say whatever you
I can say whatever. I can be myself.
You can be yourself.
Cool.
For
Perfect.
sure.
Okay.
So let's start. Tell us about your business. What do you got going on right now? And by the way, I like the golden gooses. That's props.
My sister worked for Golden Goose.
No way.
She ships me the shoes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I might have to leverage that contact. I mean,
I'll give you
these things are running on their last
She
life.
sends me the link for the friends and family. They're like $30.
No. What?
Maybe I shouldn't say that.
Cut that out.
I don't know, 60 or something, but it doesn't even make sense.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get that. I'm gonna shake you down for that link.
I'll get you that link.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. All right. So my business is Prospect One. We do AI to understand which professional athletes can go pro, and then we connect them to the professional teams. Easy.
Okay, sweet. How did you get into that?
Shit. I played professional soccer. I played in college. Then I came back, and we started automating things for the team I played for. So nutrition. We couldn't pay for a nutritionist, but it's very simple. You just have to do some math and do an equation and find out like the caloric needs. Then you add the macros, and it's whatever you see on Instagram. Like, get to do this quiz. Have you seen it? Like the B shred. If you do this quiz, you get your personal nutrition plan. I did that like a while ago, and then I started working on the physical abilities, and we found some correlations. If you had a good core, you could switch directions good. Then if you have a good jump, you have a good 40-yard dash. And with correlations, we started finding that we could predict then who was going to be faster from a jump. And playing with data, now we can predict which players are going to go to a professional team or are going to make it. And then we started selling it.
What are the factors that are influencing or determining whether a player has the qualities to be a successful professional athlete?
Okay, so I'm going to talk mainly about soccer because it's our main sport.
Mm-hmm.
We also work with the Olympic Committee in Panama, and we work with other sports, but in soccer, nobody's gonna like believe this because they all think it's some technical ability, or they all want to say it's the eye of the coach. That's bullshit. If you measure their jump and then their ability to change directions, and you cross that with their endurance, you already can take out like 90% of the players.
Wow.
Yeah. So then it's a sport of time and space. So you have to be at a certain place in a certain moment, and then in that moment, if you miss the pass or if you can't control the ball, that's a technical ability, and then you pick who's better for that. But if you can't get to the place you need to be at, then you're not gonna make it.
So I was talking about this on one of the earlier episodes, or yesterday. One of the girls, her husband is a professional baseball player from Panama.
Yeah.
And I was talking to her about how I've spoken with a lot of professional athletes and also professional coaches who say that once you get to that like professional level, everyone is like physically very talented. But what separates like the good from the great
Yeah.
is mental.
Yeah.
Have you guys noticed that? Is that something that you realize or
Yeah.
testing for?
So 90% are away. Everyone at that level has to be that fit. Then technical is the second filter, and usually you can learn that stuff. The mental, what we understood was players with the same personality type. Have you done this personality test?
I've done Myers-Briggs.
Myers, like I don't know exactly the Myers Briggs, but somebody with the same, like the more conscious people are able to stay because they understand the consequences of their acts. They are able to stay consistent, and consistency is king. And those are the ones that are usually going to make it.
So break down that personality type a little bit more in depth if you know.
Yeah. My English is rusty. Huh? You gotta
Okay.
take it easy. But specifically, is they gotta be able to, so they're aware of everything that is happening to them. So what takes them away from their flow state is where when somebody is doing the wrong stuff, because they understand what is correct and what is supposed to be done. And whenever somebody, like a teammate, does the wrong pass or makes the wrong decision, like that messes with their heads. Or something that is not supposed to happen under control happens. But when everything is according to plan, like they're very plan oriented, they really enjoy it and they get into flow state.
Wow. What is what has it been like transitioning from the from being an athlete
Yeah,
into business? And I've seen a lot of there is a lot of issues with athletes after they finish their professional careers.
yeah,
Some associated with the main one that I've heard is that like lack of not notoriety, but they identify with being that professional athlete.
uh-huh.
And once they leave that professional sport,
Hmm.
they no longer have that identity. And it can be very detrimental to them because they're kind of like, where do I go?
You lose confidence because you're exactly it's who you are, and everybody says, yeah, the athlete. And so now, before they used to want to be rappers after they play. Now they want to be founders. Now we want to be founders. So I think being a founder was like for me, it was like a way to close that per- identity gap. But for sure, there was a period of depression, and where it was, I didn't know who I was, and I didn't know where I was going with my life.
How did you begin to like refine that purpose again? What was that process like?
So I stopped playing on my third or second year in college because my family and I, we decided to go. I should go to college. But I got a scholarship, and I spent like the last year partying and stuff. And then I came back here, came back to Panama. I didn't know who I was, so I started getting involved with a team, and I was gonna go back and play, but I was already out of shape. So I really like connected with the players, and my problem was we didn't have the competitive advantage of the US because teams here don't have the money to develop the players the right way. So when I saw the problem, and I started like finding small solutions to every single small problem I could find, then I felt the need to take this to the next level.
What do you take from being an athlete that you apply now into your business life?
Discipline. So it's the way we, like, whenever people tell me like I'm tired, I can't get this done, I'm like, hey, if you have to run 1,000 laps, you run 1,000 laps. If you have to wake up at 4 a.m., you wake up at 4 a.m. You just have to do whatever you have to do. And that's something that in my company, like most of us were athletes, and then there's a group that are not athletes, and I see it in them, and I used to get really frustrated because they wouldn't have, like, we have a deadline for 1 week. If you have to work 50 hours a day, you do it. And all of us, we know that, and we're used to that, and it's okay. But there are a few guys that don't feel that, and are not used to that, and that's something I think it's a pretty good benefit.
What is the biggest challenge that you've encountered, to date? Maybe it's within your sports career or within your business career?
No, no, no. It's definitely business. It's sales. Because being a former player, like I empathize and I really want this solution to work. So I find a way to give like a premium, a freemium offer, and I never charge people, and I help a lot of people. And I think I have half of my users at the beginning were friends and players I wanted to work with, and then I was looking at the company and we had zero cash flow, and that was a big problem. Like understanding, yeah, I was fixing the problem I wanted to fix, but I had to make money from it. That was the main problem.
How did you address that? What did you change?
I'm still working on it. It's not solved yet, like mentally, but basically I put somebody else on the on board. And like whenever we got a new client, I will, as soon as we close the deal, I will send somebody else to finish the details because I would for sure make a mistake. So I took myself away from the equation.
What are the unique attributes of your personality that are valuable to the business?
I'm pretty good at solving problems outside the box. Like it's like in a game, and it's the same attribute I had when I used to play. I would have three adversaries in the field, and I'll find a weird solution that would work. I will do the same thing. For example, we created we didn't have money for marketing, and we had to advertise a new product that was coming out. So we created a reality TV show where we found brands to sponsor what is now our biggest marketing effort, that is our reality TV show.
What do you see from other entrepreneurs that leads them to be unsuccessful? What's your biggest business ick?
Shit. That's a good one. I wasn't ready for that one.
Like, what do you think are the qualities that make someone unsuccessful? Maybe you say, like, these people are lazy or they don't have resilience or they have a negative belief system. Like, what are something that you see um, as a common thing in entrepreneurs or even in athletes?
No, you know what? There's this startup culture that that makes you believe that there's gonna be a business plan later, and you can just get a bunch of users and you're gonna convert them, and that's absolute bullshit. And I fell into that, and I feel identified by that. I think, and I see people going through that door right now, and they're gonna find out it doesn't work.
What's your long term vision for the company?
Well, I'm gonna say it for the first time. I haven't said this, but the plan is for the World Cup in Qatar. I want to next big marketing stunt is gonna be that we're gonna give $1 million to a player that comes from our platform and plays in the World Cup.
Wow. The the girl that I was telling you about before,
Yeah,
her husband is a coach in that World Cup.
seriously.
Yeah. I forget, I know her name, we can give it to you afterwards, but does it matter the sport? Is it only for soccer?
Yeah, the World Cup is only for soccer.
Okay, so there was a World Cup in baseball that was in Qatar as
Yeah,
well.
no, sorry, and also the World Cup, what the soccer World Cup is in Saudi. But yeah, it's there was an event on baseball, and I'm sure I might know this guy, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
forget his name, we'll have to find it afterwards. Um, if you had $1,000,000 of guilt-free capital, how would you deploy it within the company?
$1 million.
Yeah.
How long do I have to deploy it?
I mean, as long as you want.
Okay, shit.
You just got it in your bank account. $1,000,000 just hit your
Right
bank
now,
account right now.
what's the next question? Like, why are you not doing it? um, I would integrate with hardware, or use it in computer vision, I'll work on product right away. I'll hire AI and computer vision specialists. That's our next step.
What do you think the future is for your company with the implementation of AI? Do you think it's gonna have a big impact?
All right, this is something that nobody has ever been able to do, and I see why, because it's complex. You can tell if an athlete, for example, has done X amount of correct, like completed X amount of passes, scores so many goals, how fast they run, but you can't measure for now if they took the right decision. And making the right decision has so many variables and so many ways it can go wrong that nobody hasn't been able to do it. And I think that's like measuring soccer IQ might be like a big breakthrough.
How do you gauge, like, the right decision?
For now, it's absolutely subjective. Like he should have gone forward, or maybe he should have taken the defender on. Maybe he should have taken a shot. It depends on the situation. So for every situation, we would have to create an X amount of solutions possible and rate those solutions. That's a bit of the blueprint I have in my mind, but like that's a nice problem I would like to tackle soon.
Are you from Panama originally?
Yeah, yeah.
How do you see the entrepreneurial culture, in Panama developing?
Slow.
Slow?
Thing is, it's a small market, so every like consumer product would be almost useless, like in a tech way. O sea, in the tech industry. So you get the normal industries, but companies are fighting for a small market share. So it's pretty hard. So you have to really like, and if you come up with something, you have to dominate the country to be a sustainable company, and we all have to go outside the country. Like you guys in the US, you don't even think about another market until you make, I don't know, $100 million a year.
Yeah.
Like here, you make $50,000 a month, and you're already thinking about the next country because you don't know if there's gonna be a next market.
What do you think the keys are to success, as an entrepreneur in Panama?
Yeah, you have to know people. Uh, Everybody knows each other. Like it's easy to know people. But I think the key to success in Panama is to know that Panama is not gonna be your market, and to be able to test really fast whatever hypothesis you have in your head, and maybe and create plans to deploy them outside. But it's not a market where you're gonna be extremely successful in tech. Maybe in tourism and real estate you will, but I think the market's crowded too. So I'm not sure.
So you say you gotta know a lot of people. What are the differences in the culture here in Panama? How does someone like, me, like a gringo that comes to Panama, how do I have success within the Panamanian culture? Where do you see like Americans or people from other countries, where do they fail within Panama culturally?
You're screwed, man. I'm just kidding. No, no, no. Actually, normally what I see is they hang out with we're pretty close as a culture, and it's pretty hard to get in. Um, and usually you hang out with expats, but you gotta really make an effort to know people locally and hang out where they hang out. You gotta learn the language,
I'm
and
trying.
man, there's no way around it. And maybe the right expats know the connections you need, but mostly you're gonna have to do the work.
Yeah.
Like if you want to make it, you got to do the work. As in everything else, you got to make the friends you need to make.
What do you think the biggest opportunities are here in Panama?
So everything that has to do with logistics, because obviously we have the canal, but also we are not like you don't have a shipping address here. You have to ship to a PO box. I think that's a market that can be exploited, and whoever figures that out first, and whoever is in the logistics area, doesn't make sense that we have the canal and you can't get a product shipped to your home.
Yeah. It's nuts.
It's nuts, right?
Yeah.
Everything comes through here. It goes to Costa Rica, and they can ship it right away to their homes,
Yeah.
and we have to go to a PO box. I think last mile might work, or might be useful, but I think whoever can crack that is gonna do something interesting.
That's crazy. Yeah. And I just moved here, obviously.
Yeah,
And like, I don't even know the address to my building.
yeah, you don't have no idea.
I have no clue.
There's no address, man. It's the U. What's that? It's the building. That's the address.
Yeah.
We don't have street Well, we do have street numbers. We don't have house numbers. So
That's crazy.
yeah,
I didn't even realize that. Like, I saw it on the address and I just figured that there was some system that you guys understand that I don't, but there just isn't a system.
yeah, next to the green door and close to the mango tree. No, I'm serious, and it's weird that I'm serious because if you look at the city, it looks like a Miami. It doesn't look like a such a disorganized country, but it is extremely disorganized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you define success for yourself?
Yeah, I want to solve my problem. That's my next step. I want to solve it within the next 5 years, and then I want to tackle. I want to be able to fix things quickly with solutions that create a lot of value by the next 10 years, and have a big and diversify in other industries doing the same thing that I'm doing right now. And when I'm able to do that, I want to be happy.
Are there any internal challenges that you're aware of or internal limitations that you're aware of in yourself that you know, like, I need to conquer this limitation if I want to be more successful and I want to grow?
Yeah, for sure. Uh, Like, do you want me to start with the whole list or?
We got time.
No, but it's so I'm pretty self-aware, but I haven't been able. I talked about discipline before. I can do the work, but I gotta work more on strategy, like, and sticking to long-term planning. Because the way I'm wired, I would work for, I don't know, 2 months without taking a day off. But I'm working on stuff that is not very important or efficient, and having that time to think from the drone point of view will help me a lot to grow. I think that's my biggest problem.
And what do you think you what habits do you implement to be successful? Like, what are the most important day-to-day habits that you execute on that have led to the success that you have had?
All right, studying every day, man. Like, it doesn't even make sense. I used to be the worst in school, but now I study every day, at least 30 minutes. Also journaling, like being extremely disciplined with my calendar, and taking the most of the day, and blocking the times. I don't want to be changing hats. So, for example, this podcast is in the afternoon, and I'm only setting meetings in person this afternoon. I'm not gonna open the computer. I'm not gonna talk to my team. I'm not gonna talk about product. I'm only gonna concentrate in this. And tomorrow morning I have product, and I'm gonna work on the design, the next shipments, the whatever I have to do. And then in the afternoon I work on sales. I'm just gonna be making calls. I think I started doing that for like the last 6 months, and it's been amazing.
Why is that routine important?
Because I guess you leave it too. Like, if you have to change hats all the time, you're not able to give 100% of your attention to whatever you're doing right now. And the most successful, like the most efficient work I can do, I do it after I've been doing the same thing for 1 hour. But if I'm changing tasks every hour, it's not gonna work. Like, I do shitty work.
Yeah. When you say that you journal, what do you journal about?
So the plan, like how I feel entering the day, how I need to feel to be successful during that day, and whatever's not on my task manager or my calendar that I need to be aware of. And I simplify whatever is complicated from my most important tasks, and then at the end of the day, what happened and what I have to leave for tomorrow, just to take away from my head.
Why is that important to do?
Man, I can't sleep. So if I know what I missed today, and I'm trying to go to bed, it's impossible.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's crazy. What do you think is the single biggest piece of advice that you would give entrepreneurs that you've learned through your entrepreneurial journey?
that we're not exceptions. Like, you read a book and there's a methodology, and you will think that doesn't apply to me because I'm not in the same industry and I am special for whatever reason. There are systems that have been put in place to be successful at X amount of things. Nobody's that special that they don't apply to them to their companies. And whenever you like are humble enough to understand that, and you put in place the systems that are there to execute, you're gonna be successful. You just gotta do whatever is in the theory and put it in practice. And don't believe it doesn't apply to you because, I don't know, you're working in another industry or yeah,
Yeah, it's all we have all the resources in the world at our fingertips. It's
exactly,
just, you know, having suppressing your ego and realizing that there's always something else to learn and then having the discipline to learn that information and then implement it. There really is no excuse why someone shouldn't be successful. And the only thing standing in an entrepreneur's way is themselves.
exactly. The ego.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put it in the perfect words. And I wish I could do it in Spanish because, yeah, you're asking great questions, and my English is it's limiting my ability to answer them. But yeah, man, it's crazy how much we put our egos in front of solutions. And because I think it's right, maybe my team told me that it's not gonna work, but my ego and following my ideas, I've lost a lot of money on that.
Yeah. It's great advice. And I think you're articulating your ideas very, very well.
Thanks,
Very concise and simple. So,
man. Validating your assumptions. How many, like, have you read the Mom Test?
no.
The book? It's a
The
book.
mom test?
The Mom Test. It's a book about making the right questions to validate that your hypotheses are the right ones.
Wow.
And it's a step by step. It's a playbook just to make sure you're not developing products that are not gonna be useful. The client is not gonna be wanting to pay. And every time I come up with a new idea for a product line, I skip this and I missed and I lose money because I didn't do the work and didn't follow the process to be able to ship the product that I wanted to ship. And it's crazy because I've read the book 3 times and I keep doing it. Like, now that I understood that I wasn't methodic enough to do that, I'm having somebody else on my teams validate whatever hypothesis we come up with, and it's starting to pay off really well because it works. But yeah, it's the ego.
Well, something that I notice about you that's a very good quality is that you're not afraid to admit your faults and you're aware of your faults. And in my opinion, that is the first step to growing and changing is having that awareness and the limitation is the people that are in denial about those faults. Nobody can be perfect. But if you at least have those awareness and are doing those self assessments, then you're making the first step to growth.
And we have a theory in our company that whatever you think it's directly proportional how you think, like your self assessment. If you're a 5 and you believe you're a 7, you're automatically a 3. Seriously, I mean, it's directly proportional because you're gonna be or being that overconfident makes you take risks that you're not able to chat to handle and to back up. So automatically you drop to a 3, like, proportionally. And it goes the other way around too. If you think you're a 3 but you're a 5, then
You're a 7.
exactly, because you're gonna do like it's much more worth it to be on to underestimate your value than overestimate it. And self-awareness for me, it's one of the I don't hire anybody that thinks they're much better than they actually are. And I try to stay humble and keep my head where I think I am.
That's really good advice.
Thanks.
Where, if people are interested in your services or they want to connect with you and want some advice from you about your own journey, where can they find you for your
Sure.
business?
You can find me on Instagram, Sebastien Hilaire. It's the easy way. And Prospect One is my company. So you can find a Prospect One app. You can find it on Instagram or web or however. I can give you my number if you want to.
No, you don't have to do that. You don't want to do that. But we'll link
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
we'll link all your website and everything below. But no, I appreciate you coming on. You've been a great guest, and
Thanks, man.
looking forward to see how your company grows.
It's gonna do well. Okay, you'll see it.
For sure. I believe in you.
Thanks.